Good morning, Magic players. Welcome to the morning show where we discuss all things Magic the Gathering. So bring on the news and the questions. We do Q&A. So get in that comment section, get in the chat, and let's have a great, wonderful morning. And also, we do Decklist review. So if you've got a 75 you want some feedback on, would like to say, hey, what do you think of this list? What about the idea? Is the mana base tight? Is the creature base good? Hey, bring it to us and we'll love to showcase it, and both myself and the community can give the critique to help you take your deck to the next level. So brew up your cup of coffee and let's brew up the magic this morning. Welcome to Coffee and MTG for March 2nd, 2021. Good morning, everyone. I'm your host, Nikachu, Merfolk Master. Good morning, MTG Ectoplasm. Good morning, Snuffleupafish, Benjamin K, Antonin. Good morning, and a good morning, Massimo, Peyton. Good morning to everybody. What a wonderful, and as we wait for people to arrive, I guess we can look at some more spoilers that are pouring in. I mean, these are all reprints, people. There's like no new cards in this set as far as I can tell. I'm gonna go to my favorite site, Mythic Spoiler, because we got a lot of interesting cards that are getting the new frame. All right, what we got here? We got Goblin Engineer, old frame, Stinkweed Imp. That's a big one for any of those old boomer dredge players. Vampire Hexmage. We got Shriek Moth. Thoughtseize is the biggest one. So, like, this is the one that we couldn't see yesterday. Thoughtseize is a very big one. This might get more expensive than the Lorwyn Thoughtseize. Like the OG Lorwyn Thoughtseize, that was the delish, the creme de la creme. But now, old border Lorwyn Thoughtseize, I think we have a new king. We have a new king here. Or queen, whatever. The crown has moved, that's for sure. So if anyone's hyped for OG Thoughtseize, let me know in chat. They also, if I understood Twitter correctly, there's a Splinter Twin. No, I don't see it here. Maybe it was bullshit. Maybe I can't tell what's a troll or not, so maybe it's nothing. I don't know. But it seems like the red cards are coming out today. Today is the day of the red cards. Good morning, Steve, Alvin, Mark, Andreas, Jake, Thomas, Chris. Good morning, everyone. All right, so if you're new to the show, this is how it works. 3 question marks before the question, 3 question marks after the question. Helps me find your questions amongst all the comments on my Facebook page, and my YouTube channels. But also, if you're on YouTube, you can cheat the system, donate with a super chat, and your question gets bumped up over everyone else's. So let's start it all off. Antonin, do you play Brawl? Is there a way to play against you? I do not play Brawl. I know. People always ask me, do you play Pauper? Do you play Brawl? Do you play Commander? Do you play like this? Do you play 93, 94? I mostly, almost exclusively play Modern. I play a little bit of Pioneer and Legacy on the side. I guess maybe even some Historic, and then a smidge of EDH when my friends want me to. But outside of that, then that's about it. I don't have time for every single format. It's hard to be a specialist for Modern, be the Modern authority when you like thin yourself out with all the other formats. It's hard to do it. What do you think about Spirits and Legacy? I don't know. Like it would, in theory, they've got all the tools to compete, but I don't know. Maybe just it looks like they have everything. That's what I want to say. It looks like they've got everything that they could possibly want. Maybe it just needs the right person to make the right deck in that format to really take it to the next level. Because it looks like they got everything. Like, I guess the only crap thing is that they only have 1 2-mana Lord, and the next Lord is 3 mana. But you know what? Like, they don't need Tundra necessarily. They can play fetch lands into like Plains and Island to play around Wasteland. I think that seems like a very good strategy. They don't have like any double blue, double white, or not much double white unless you play with Skyclave Apparition. But like, it seems very reasonable that Spirits is a playable deck in Legacy. Makes sense to me. I'm just not the person to playtest it. Pancho Hernandez. Hi, Nikachu. Do you think that they will print old border for dual/trio colors? Love to see Spell Queller on older border. Yes, I think they will do it. I think we're gonna see some old gold foils. Why wouldn't they? Why wouldn't they do that? Why would they take us this far and no gold bordered cards? Yeah, we could have a gold border Spell Queller for sure. Good morning, Steve. Just saw you run Realm Walker and Kumena Tyrant of Veraska, but couldn't watch yet. How did the run finish? Well, I don't want to spoil it for anybody. But I think my prediction about Realm Walker and Merfolk still stands. I'll just say that much. Frick Curry, would you play a blue Thoughtseize in your main deck? Yeah, probably. If it was blue, I didn't have to splash a color. Absolutely. You get hand disruption does a few things. It can slow your opponent down. Okay, so first off, you can interact with combo decks. You can slow your opponent down by taking out a card from their curve. So if they have like a 1-drop, a 2-drop, 3 3-drops, and a 4-drop, you take away their 2-drop, and all of a sudden they're going to do nothing on their turn 2. And then the last thing, and I think this is very underrated amongst the amongst this effect, is that you get to see your opponent's hand. You work with perfect information. You just have perfect information for the game. That helps you so much for making attacks, what to play. Do you have to play through counterspells sometimes? Because I used to play peek, and if I peek my opponent, a control player, and they have just lands, well then, I thought you had 3 cards in hand. I thought you had gas. Well, now you have nothing, and I'm just going to willingly empty my hand, attack, and threaten to kill you the next turn. Game could have went longer. I could have played more patiently, but that information is so valuable. What do you think of a 5-color shrine deck? There was once a shrine, Ming Qian. There was once a shrine deck that was posted on this channel for Decklist review. The one problem with the shrines is that they're really clunky. They're just really clunky for the most part. So I'm not super in favor. I mean, you could make a deck, but it's just a really clunky deck. CG, I really understand the benefits of playing only one deck and staying true to it, get better results, but can't it happen that you get too one-sided a view of Magic as a game strategically? Absolutely, you can get one-sided as a game, but there's a lot of people who, in my opinion, you have a style. Like, I don't know how well control players can play an aggro deck, or vice versa. An aggro player plays a control deck. They're just two very different types of people to some extent. And you can see this in games like chess. People have a style, and you're going to gravitate to certain openings in chess because of your style. And I think the same thing in Magic. You're going to gravitate to a certain range of decks because of your style. Just like how some people, they'll never play a blue deck. They'll never play a red deck. They'll never play a green deck. So you could end up having too one-sided of a view of Magic, but you might have been born that way. Some people can play everything, but not everyone can do that. That's just I don't know how to put it. It's not necessarily a bad thing. I mean, I see you get one-sided view of Magic as a game strategically, but like so long as that strategy is always viable, it's fine. Morning, Louise. Good morning, Dexter Johnson. Benjamin, how was that Mass Vandal and Simic Merfolk? Way more playable than I thought. Let's get Mass Vandal up here. So Mass Vandal, green and a generic, 1/3 changeling. Enters the battlefield, you may exile a creature card from your graveyard. If you do, exile target artifact or enchantment opponent controls. This was more playable than I thought it was. I thought like I need to play this on turn 2 or it's useless. Actually, you could play it on turn 3, 4, 5, 6. It's actually not unplayable. So Mass Vandal is actually a very playable card. Just given that, top decking it really late in the game was still pretty good. And that's all I really have to say about it. So it's actually a playable card. I might consider this in my toolbox for the future. I don't know if I necessarily need to play this card. I also have to say I got the matchups for this card, but definitely a playable card. Blue Thoughtseize would make me quit playing Magic. Thoughtseize is a good thing, people. Thoughtseize, it's a good thing. Let's get Thoughtseize on here. I should make a video about this, like how I said thank you, Force of Negation. Thank you, Thoughtseize. You know, without Thoughtseize, Modern was chaos after they banned Splinter Twin. It was chaos for about a year until Death Shadow became the best deck in the format. And it was the best deck in the format because of Thoughtseize. And it stabilized the format because of Thoughtseize. So the combo decks no longer were just randomly comboing off. Oh, you're an Infect player with one Infect creature in your hand? Okay, I'll take it. GG. Nice. And so, I mean, I guess for the people who play combo decks, they hate this card. And yeah, it always takes like your best card or whatever. But still, this is the Force of Will of Modern. It's not Force of Negation. This is the Force of Will of Modern. This is a one card deal with all the BS at the same time in one package. Easily splashable in any deck that plays black. We got to respect Thoughtseize. Pay your respects to Thoughtseize. Matthias, the metagame is healing. Yesterday I played against Jeskai, Control, Tron, and Amulet Titan. Exactly. You can play against anything right now. And Amulet Titan just won like a modern challenge. So we might be seeing quite a bit of Amulet Titan. The Amulet players might be getting really confident in a build right now. How come you didn't play Thoughtseize main deck in Vampire/Zombies then? You know what? It's clunky in an Ether Vial deck. So I've play tested Thoughtseize a little bit in Merfolk, in like a blue-black Merfolk deck. Because you ideally want to go turn 1 Thoughtseize. You don't need to, but ideally you play turn 1 Thoughtseize. But if you have an Ether Vial in your hand, you want to go Ether Vial first. And then on turn 2, do you want to Thoughtseize or do you want to play your 2-drop? Like that's the problem. But I will give it this. Probably this is good in Zombies because Zombies doesn't have a lot of 2-drops, but they have like a huge abundance of 1-drops. So maybe Thoughtseize belongs in a zombie deck where I can play turn 1 Ether Vial, and then I can play a 1-drop creature with my mana, still vial in a 1-drop creature with Ether Vial, and play Thoughtseize at the same time. But not probably not as playable in Vampires. It's just awkward. It's just awkward. Maybe it's still playable, but I just found it awkward. Mark Oliver. Olivier. Running to Diacide in my blue-white Stoneblade against Helied Company. Do you think it's too much to have 2 Sideboard cards for only 1 deck you can be against? Yes, I think that. Is there not an Exile targeted enchantment card? Okay, come on, Hive Mind, help me here. So, Mark Oliver is playing Diacide, which is it's Exile target God, I think. Oh, it's Exile target enchantment. Oh no, then this is fine. Okay, forget it, everyone. This is fine. This is not as narrow as I thought it was. Or is Erase better? Okay, hold on. So let's look at this. Exile target enchantment. If the exiled card is a god card, search its controller's graveyard, hand, and library for any number of cards with the same name as that card and exile them. Then that player shuffles his or her library. Then we've got Erase. You know what? I think this is I think this is very reasonable. I actually don't think it's that bad. So I think you can I think you can use this. It's only 2 mana. That's not ridiculous, and it still exiles enchantments. I thought it was exiling target god card. It's been a while since this card was printed. I was there. I was at the pre-release. But I think it's reasonable. I don't know how many enchantments are there in the metagame though. Maybe that's the only problem. There's like not many enchantments in the metagame to exile. Helied Company, that's like it. You can sometimes hit a Daybreak Coronet or something. Reminds you of Legion's End, yeah. Okay, so let's say in theory this card is really narrow. Can I do this? Okay, let's say for example this card is super narrow and it has only one purpose, and that is to beat one of your hardest matchups. You now need to make a judgment call. First off, does playing this card in your 75 in your sideboard worth it? Like, if every time you play this, do you win the game? Do you like win the match? If yes, then you could play the card. If not, you should consider maybe just losing the matchup. Just like whatever, you just don't have much game against it. And do your best against all the. You don't need to beat every deck. Like, that's the thing. You don't need to beat every deck. It is fine to lose, to have a bad matchup. There's no problem with that. But if you really think that this makes the difference, then go for it. You can definitely play in your sideboard. I personally shy away from these types of cards though, because I like to have a much better. I like to free up my cards in my sideboard for cards that are good against a lot of other decks. Diacide is apparently only good against it also hits Dry of the Elysian Grove. So it's not that bad. You know what? This card's looking better and better. It's looking better and better. Yeah, there's you can hit Eidolon of the Great Revel. You can hit what can we hit in the format, people? We're getting here. I think we can hit Eidolon of the Great Revel. We can hit Dry of the Elysian Grove. We can hit the Heliod. Isn't Skyclave Apparition better against it? No, because Skyclave Apparition is at sorcery speed and 3 mana. That's a completely different story here. You could, I mean, I don't know exactly what this card is being jammed in, what kind of deck, but I would say specifically Diacide would be better. Oh, and also the point of Diacide is that it takes out all the copies in your opponent's deck. So if it's a god card, search their graveyard, hand, and library and exile all of them, so you can't beat them at all. Okay, so you can beat Blood Moon. We can beat Sigarda's Aid. We can beat Klothys. Sigarda's Aid might be a little narrow, though. Bringing this in against that deck might suck. But against red-green Ponza, hitting the Blood Moon or the Klothys, those 2 targets there. Anyway. Okay, the card's more playable than I thought. It's a good card. Maybe it's a good card in the metagame. Maybe it's a good card. It's less narrow, but it's not an actual hardcore answer to the combo deck. Because you just exile 1 copy of Heliod, then they play another one and you lose. Like, that's the point. Okay, where are we here? Do you think Bitter Blossom would be meta in Modern again? Nope. Nope. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Sorry, Bitter Blossom people. This card, I think, is just grossly unplayable. I know this is like the most popular question on Coffee and MTG. I get so many Decklist for Decklist review regarding Bitter Blossom. Like, people are just trying to jam fairies with Bitter Blossom. I think this is just grossly unplayable. On turn 2, you do nothing. You do absolutely nothing on turn 2. You can't do that in Modern anymore. You, like, never. Turn 3, you're losing life for 1/1 creatures. This is so underwhelming. Like, I have no idea what this deck looked like in Extended, and I'm sure it was fantastic in Standard, but we're talking 2021 Modern here, and this is just a grossly unplayable card. It's not to say that I don't think fairies can, make a comeback somewhere. There's a lot of nice fairy cards, but this is just, it's not doing anything. If it was the opposite, if you got a 1/1 fairy and you gained life, we might be talking about something right now. But the fact that it can kill you, I don't know. Can't get behind that. Ben Golan with the super chat. Thank you very much, Ben. Firstly, love the channel. I love you too, Ben. Secondly, do you think draft is the best budget format? I love to play Pauper, but I don't have a local game store for it. Interesting. You know what? So it depends how often you draft, because those drafts can add up. That's the only problem with drafting. Like, yes, it's the cheapest thing up front to get into, but in the long run, you can end up spending, like, if you're playing a draft every single week, after a few months, you could have had a standard deck, for example. You could get into standard in theory for like $100. Usually there's some sort of budget garbage standard deck that you can play. Whereas like in 3, if you play a draft like every week for, I guess it would take only like 2.5 months, and boom, you've already blown through like $100, right? So maybe that's not entirely true, because you still have to pay an entry fee for the standard tournament. But I mean, upfront is the cheapest thing that you can play. In the long run, not always. Not always. Depends. If you are willing to play on a budget, Constructed can still be cheaper. Up to you what you want to spend. Get careful with those super chats. You got to put it towards the limited fund in your Pauper deck. Well, I want to see what the comments were like for the Bitter Blossom. I know a lot of people are like, damn it, why don't I like Bitter Blossom? Bitter Blossom is a better late game play like Shark Typhoon, but then again, Shark is better. Yeah, there's just too many better cards today. Like, it is just, there are just infinitely better cards. I mean, fairies should play Shark Typhoon, for example. You know, why not? What is missing for Copycat in Modern? People playing it. It's actually quite a playable deck. It saw some play in the not too long ago. It's actually quite a playable combo deck. What do you think of the Soul Herder deck after the bannings? Do you think the Uro ban hit it hard? I don't know. Honestly, I don't know what makes Soul Herder good. Maybe it was surprise value, because there was a time where it had some really good modern challenge success, and then it just fell off the map. I mean, and it never recovered after that. So I'm not sure if it was just pure surprise value. Of course, it's the type. I want to say it should have game, and it should be good against the decks that are fast, because it has some like a lot of value and tries to. Well, does it interact? I don't know. Maybe it's just doing too much of its own thing for value. I really can't speak on behalf of like what makes Soul Herder good. I never played the deck, and I also just don't see it enough to say in what metagame it's well positioned or when it's poorly positioned. Soul Herder came out, had some good results, disappeared, and I know it's got its niche community, but that's about it. That's it for Soul Herder. Maybe it needs the right pilot. I don't know. I really honestly don't know what will make Soul Herder get back to where it was before. Swift Spear and old frame spoiled. Oh, there we go. Now we're seeing some new. They put Gary there for the Pauper players. You got a Gary, everyone. Old looking Gary. It's gonna match that Pauper deck. Playing with those pre-2000 or pre-20 2004. When did the new frame come about? I don't know. So Gary is now printed. Where's the old frame Swift Spear? I just see new frame Swift Spear. Oh, they're just lazy. This is literally cons here. Someone fucked up. Unfortunately. Okay, we might have to see it later. Oh, Mythic Spoiler. It must be tough having a spoiler website. Ooh, Anger the Gods. Old frame. Not bad. Anyway, we gotta wait. We ever tried Demir Merfolk on YouTube? I have. I've done it before. Will I do it again? Probably, but just not very often. Where are some questions I like glossed over from earlier? Ethan asks, you think a Masters 2015 style packing will ever make a return? No, because they're very unpopular. They're very easy to manipulate and reseal. Even though they were like more eco-friendly, what was going on, it was terrible. People could, I forget how they did. I think they like put like they heated up the glue on the side so they could like peel open the cardboard without the glue ripping the cardboard, and then they could get into the pack, pull out the pack of cards, take the good rare, put a crappy rare inside, put it back into the pack, and then reseal it. So the security on that thing really sucked. It was just garbage. It was just unfortunate garbage, even though it was definitely more economic. And I think because it's not purely sealed, the foils are way more likely to curl in a packaging like that. Not good for the foils. I know like foils, as you see, if a foil doesn't come from a booster, then it will already basically come pre-curled. Like all foils can get curled, but only when they get exposed to the air, to the moisture in the air. So if it's packed airtight in a normal booster, then it will never curl. That being said, I mean, like, I don't know, maybe they could come back with that packaging because it was more economic, more eco-friendly. I know you guys got these links. Unfortunately, I cannot click the links in this client that I'm in. Vaughn Mitchell, do you feel comfortable playing against Thoughtseize and Inquisition? They are my most hated interactions by far. I scooped decks playing a bunch of hand disruption. Yeah, I do. I am. So there's a few ways of beating them. First off, one way of beating them is just have like a very high threat density of just really powerful cards. So if they take one good card, you just have a bunch of other good cards. That's why, like, Thoughtseize is not as strong against Death Shadow or Jund in the mirror, because like every threat is just a big giant threat. Now, the other way of doing it is just make sure your deck is more threat dense than the Thoughtseize and Inquisitions can handle. So if you got a lot of creature lands, you have a lot of cards that draw a card, you're good to go. You'll be fine. or if they have flashback, all that good stuff. Camel Kid, what color combo do you think is best for Copycat? Probably just Jeskai. Maybe 4 color, but probably you have to make it simple. Well, I really don't want to say that. Maybe you can go 5 colors. That's possible. Like maybe there's a Niv Mizzet version out there with Copycat waiting to be found, and then you could use Bring to Light to potentially look for like the final combo piece for your combo. So I'll get a great cup of coffee here, people. David, and also artifact lands are really good with Emery in the Urza deck. Yeah, they probably will, but there's still going to be a cost to playing with artifact lands. And if you see, Emery and Urza don't like see any play right now, but probably if you give them artifact lands, like they can't play with all of them though. They can play with maybe 2 of them at best. Remember, there's a cost to playing with the artifact lands, in my opinion. Ben says, follow up to my super chat. I do tons of chores in exchange for my entry fees getting covered by my parents. I'm 13. My God, I remember the days myself. I'm 13 years old. I got to work my ass off to scrap together a few dollars. And thus the cost to me, even if I drafted every week, is 0. Seems right for you. And not only that, if you can win cards, and you are going to get cards anyway with the drafts, you can start building up a collection and start trading in stuff to eventually get a constructed deck. So it's not like maybe this should make for a very interesting video. You know, what's cheaper, drafting or playing constructed? Because even when you're drafting, if I spend $15 to enter a draft, in theory, or I don't know what it costs. Honestly, I don't play drafts. I have no idea. Let's say in theory, okay, let's say I spent $10. It's not like the $10 goes to garbage. It's not a digital draft or anything. It's not a phantom draft. You get cards at the end of the day, and those cards, and then if you get to win, you might get more cards. Or I don't know how the drafts, how your draft is going to work. Some drafts are like all the cards in the pod are going to be selected based on how you win, and then sometimes they don't do that. But anyway, yeah, you can go for it. You gotta start to make a collection some way. You know, broke 13-year-old Nikachu. What did I do? I mean, I did try to front some money to get the cards that I wanted, and it was like I had like a sort of a budget standard deck, but it was good enough to win. And then I won boosters, and I opened the boosters and used the cards to trade online, like literally mail cards to people to get the cards that I wanted, so I can make my standard deck better, to win more boosters. It was quite the cycle. Unfortunately, Standard was really slow back in the day, so I had a time to get the cards I needed for my deck over months of mailing cards to people. But you got to build a collection, and then eventually that collection converts into an actual deck. Oh, David had a first question. Would unbanning the artifact lands make Urza problematic? Urza can make an artifact tap for blue, even in the face of Stony Silence. But why would that matter? Because the artifacts also tap for blue, so you can't tap for more than 2. It's just like, you know, you either tap the artifact for blue, because it's a land, or you use Urza to tap it for a blue, so it doesn't change anything, right? It would just make the golem bigger than usual. Oh, but you want to say in the face of Stony Silence. That's true, but if you don't have Urza out by the time that the Stony Silence is going to enter play before Urza does. Let's just get that out there. You're not going to ramp all of a sudden into Urza. Urza still costs 4 mana. Stony Silence is 2 mana. So if you play the artifact lands at any point in the game, they will prevent you from getting Urza in play. Snuffleupa fish. With the metagame shakeup and mono red doing what it always does at these times, do you think Weather the Storm has earned a few slots in the Simic board? Not really. I really don't like trying to fight prowess with cards like Weather the Storm. Like, just imagine. I'm getting hiccups. Just imagine Sprite Dragon. This is a really good example. So let's say you're up against Sprite Dragon, which you will. and they play, I don't know, they play 7 spells. They make the Sprite Dragon an 8/8. And then you play Weather the Storm. You gain 24 life. Okay, you gain some life, but the game's not really over because there's a fucking like 8/8/9/9 creature in front of you, and so you get hit really hard, and you still have to deal with this. And if you don't, you're gonna die in a few turns anyway. So I find that I think Weather the Storm is a really good card against Burn because it's like literally a counter spell against their actual cards, but I don't feel the same way against Prowess. It can buy you time, but it's not a hard answer to their deck. Oh, here's a great answer to the Thoughtseize question. The best answer to hand disruption is top decking by Mobile Enthusiast. Eric says, 188 viewers. I remember when you had like 40 viewers when quarantine started. You started doing Coffee and MTG. That's right. Well, on YouTube, actually, we started Coffee and MTG. I had 100 viewers instantly on YouTube. Then we moved to Twitch. Now I had like 40 to 60 viewers, and it was like that for 6 months. So I said, fuck that. So I moved back to YouTube. We actually have 300. I'm at 299. You want to see what I see? I'll show you guys. Oh my God. Okay, we're gonna just look at the top left corner. We got 295. Oh, I didn't know I could do this. I've 222 on Nikachu MTG, 67 on what's it called? Oh, you can't see it. Hold on. Boom. So here on the top left, we have 219 on Nikachu MTG, 69 on Nikachu MTG streams. We have 3 people representing on Facebook. Oh yeah. I hope people like the replays on Facebook because they get to stay there for forever. I didn't know I could do that. Sweet. So if anyone also wanted to know where these, like I privatize them on Nikachu MTG, but they live on for forever in Nikachu MTG streams. If you ever want to see the replay. Feeling that Nissa Steward can be good. Oh, this one. This card has not stood the test of time. The fact of the matter is, the problem with Planeswalkers like this is that they're dirtily. They don't actually do anything. +2, scry 2. Okay, and then it dies, and then that's it. And there's your Planeswalker. You didn't even draw a card. It just died. So look at the top card of your library. If it's a land card or a creature card with converted mana cost less than or equal to the number of loyalty counters on Nissa Steward of Elements, you may put that card onto the battlefield. But you need to have a high loyalty. Like, you can't play this thing on turn 3. You play this on turn 3, that's 1 loyalty, doesn't do anything. So you need a lot of mana. And like, if you have a lot of mana, if you have 5 mana, you might as well play something else. You know what I mean? So Nissa unfortunately takes too many turns to set up and doesn't actually really do anything. Will they print the time-shifted cards with old frame? I don't know what you mean by that. They are printing. This is like Time Spiral. Oh, is there a difference between Time Spiral and Time Shifted? In this case, I just don't know. Zombor, is there a chance that Teferi Time Reveler is going to be banned next ban list and not in 1 or 2 years from now? Or is it safe to buy a set if I want to play it? Like, that's the thing. We don't know. We don't know. I would bet that they would ban Teferi Time Reveler the next time Modern goes to shit. So whenever that's going to be, that's probably the time that they're going to take action on Teferi Time Reveler, just like how they banned Simian Spirit Guide. They just waited for Modern to get really bad, and instead of like doing like one little dinky BNR announcement, they went with a big one, and that's probably the next time that they're going to ban. That's probably the next time they ban Teferi Time Reveler, unless Control is somehow really hurting, but I doubt it. They just have too many cards. And if they ban Teferi, you'll probably see Ancestral Vision come back, because that card was held back by Teferi Time Reveler. So the honest thing is, right now it's very clearly safe, like very, very safe. It's 100%. But we don't know what every new set is going to do to Modern. Yeah, I have no idea. Because if they have to emergency ban something, they'll start looking at Teferi Time Reveler. I'm like, do we still need this card in this format? Nobody likes it. So really can't say. The correct answer is it's never really safe at any moment. But your best chance would be now than later. The later you wait, the more you wait, the shorter the time you get to play with the card. That much I can say for sure. MH, what's your opinion on tuning a deck / sideboard and playing one archetype as opposed to having a second deck that is good when your other one is hated out. I think you can have both. I think on average, people can have 2 decks that you master and tune the deck and sideboard. People have time to play 2 decks. I play one because I spend most of my time on YouTube and stuff like that, YouTube and Twitch, so I don't have a lot of time to play 2 decks at the same time. I barely have time to play with 1 deck. So I genuinely believe, and I've never been able to make much content about this because I just don't have time to play 2 decks at once. But generally speaking, if you want to master a deck, you should have 2 decks available. You know who did this? Patrick Dickman, Splinter Twin Master. His #1 deck was Splinter Twin, but does anyone know what he was also known for? Actually, he wasn't known for it. He has a second deck. He had a second deck always available when he didn't think Splinter Twin was the right... It wasn't the right time for Splinter Twin. Does anyone know what the second deck was? It's a quiz for everyone. He did play it. I don't know how much lag people have to answer this. There we go. Marco got it. Marco, Affinity. So Patrick Dickman. Oh, wait a minute. People did answer this question. Or now, oh, now we're getting flooded. Yes, he played Affinity. So go put you give yourselves a pat on the back. So Patrick Dickman did have two decks, 2 of the top 3 decks in the format, but he did play Affinity. So that seemed like a very interesting choice. But that's the thing. You have room to play 2 decks. Everyone does. So you can have, you know, so if like I knew it's a really good complementary deck that was mentioned here, but this isn't what Patrick Dickman played, but a really good complementary deck I think is Burn, because Burn is just a deck that's really good at certain periods of time, and then when it's bad, you should probably go to another deck. Because it's not always like outrageous. Sometimes Burn is just easily like one of the best decks in the format. Very easy deck to play. You get very good. You can convert the games to a really high win percentage very well. But then when it's bad, it's crap. Do you think everyone should like and sub? That's right, like and sub to the channel. But I think most people watching the channel are already subbed. Maybe not. YouTube is a funny thing these days. If you start watching my videos and you watch another one, then YouTube keeps recommending you my videos as if you were subbed, but you're not actually subbed. The sub doesn't actually matter anymore. It matters for me to get the silver play button. Let me help. Get me that silver play button, damn it. We gained like 2,000 subscribers over the last few days just because I'm telling you, sub to me, damn it. Sub to my YouTube channel, particularly Nikachu MTG. I really don't care about the streams channel. Jesse says, I saw you fix Goblin's deck from a while ago, not the prison one. I thought it was really interesting. I can't afford Ether Vials. Do you have a recommendation of what I should play instead? Lands. That's my recommendation. There is nothing replacing Ether Vial on a budget. Just play more lands and you'll be fine. Yeah, that's right. Nikachu-ception. Here we go. We got a review here. I tried Nisa, Steward of Elements in Simic Merfolk, and it was a huge fail. Exactly. Like, that's the difference between Oko, something like Oko and Nisa, right? Nisa just dirtles around and does nothing. Oko literally impacts the battlefield. And has a high loyalty also for 3 mana. More Spirits gameplay, please. I might be able to do that when I get back to Pioneer. Frick Curry, if you could print a new Merfolk, would you rather have a 1-mana Lord of Atlantis or a Merfolk Champion of the Parish? I would take the 1-mana Lord of Atlantis. I don't think they would fucking give that to me, but I would take that. I would absolutely take that. That'd be OP. I never thought about that. Maybe that's within the power level of Modern, like specifically for Merfolk, given that it's like a Lord heavy deck. So there is some advice here. Play in pre-release events to open the good standard stuff. Use pack wins to get store credit instead if possible. After pre-release, trade the popular standard cards for modern staples. Absolutely. And also trade and sell the cards immediately. Like, It's only at pre-release time that the cards are worth the most. People like because the supply is very low. Everyone assumes like, oh, if I don't buy it now, it's gonna go to the moon. No, most of the time the prices crash. So get your value in while you can, while the hype is there. Do you think helied such Ballista will get a ban someday? It is possible. The win rate is lower online because they don't technically have they don't have an infinite life combo. They have an arbitrary large amount of life combo, but they don't have infinite life, and that is certainly going to make them lose sometimes. So it is a different game online. It is just a different game. You're not entitled to win off of like Spike Feeder and helied, but in paper they will. So it's possible that this deck is like way better than it looks, and we might end up, because like that's a easier combo to assemble, I think, as well. Because you can't go turn 2 helied, turn 3 walking Ballista. You still need to wait a turn to get more mana to go infinite damage, but you can go turn 2 Spike Feeder, turn 3 helied and win, or turn 3, I should say, turn 2 helied, turn 3 Spike Feeder. There's way more turn 3 wins with that deck. Will it get a ban? I don't know, but I do know that the win percentage could go off the charts in the future, like somewhere in the future when paper returns. Is the return of the old border just the long con version of New Coke? Make a new flavor that's worse than the old one, then bring back the original for profit? Long con version of New Coke. Make a new flavor. But the thing is, this is the old flavor with a different packaging. I think that's a little bit more like it. It's like bringing back the original Coke, the original ingredients with new packaging, not a new flavor. I'm answering the questions all over the place. Oh, so here's what I'm talking about. So $2 super, I don't get notifications for super chats under $2. I'm gonna go back to StreamYards and tell them about this. I'm gonna make a screenshot here. Like, I don't have any notification for this. This is bullshit. I'm gonna send it to them. If I get a $5 or high super chat, I get a notification. If it's $2 or lower, I'm not getting it on any of my platforms. StreamYards super chat fail. Thank you for your experimentation, Vaughn. How many creatures in deck to use Vial? I would say the minimum, it appears the minimum should be 20. Maybe 16, actually. Maybe the minimum can be 16. You'd be surprised how low you can go on creatures. So I think somewhere between 16 and 20 is like an absolute minimum that you need. That sounds crazy. Your Vial gets better with the more creatures that you play, but pending how you use the Vial, you could go as low as 16. Let's look up Shota's Yasuoka's Eternal Command list. Eternal Command. Shota. Is this the OG? I think this is I don't know if this is really the OG. See, I just got a super chat from Chris. Just pay the $5. Well, the thing is, like, I should get a notification at $2. I used to, and then for some reason I stopped getting it. See, I got the notification. Thank you very much, Chris, by the way, for the super chat. All right, so Cryptic Command. Okay, well, how many creatures? So there's 13 creatures. No, this is not the deck. Oh, maybe it is. Maybe the Hunt Master was in the sideboard. There are actually 13 creatures in this Ether Vial deck, and this made it to the finals of the Players' Championship. 13 creatures. In my opinion, it should be, and they needed to. I mean, he was using the mana really well to play Snapcaster Mage and play Cryptic Command, to put onto 3, play Eternal Witness, get back Cryptic Command, play Cryptic Command, bounce because you need a lot of mana, so it did act like as a lot of mana in the long run. But I guess maybe you can go even lower than 16. 16, in my opinion, is the minimum, though. Ideally, in a tribal deck, you have more, but you never know. I want to rent a Magic the Gathering Online deck and wanted to know if you had a Mana Traders link. I do. Okay, whatever. I'll throw it out there right now. You don't need the link. You just need to use my coupon code. Or okay, I have a link in the description wherever you are. If you're on Facebook, I do have a Mana Traders link there. Just check the description. Or you can use... whoops, can't see it right now. Or you can get 15% off your first 3 months using my coupon code Nikachu. Thank you, Calvin. I would have announced that in like 5 minutes anyway when we do Decklist review. Ugh, it's all getting confusing here. Arvel, hey Nikachu, guten Tag. Good morning. Today is my birthday, and thank you for being a part of it. What's your opinion of green-white value town? And as I answer that question, everyone wish Arvel a happy birthday. Happy birthday, Arvel. So today's your birthday. What do you think about green-white value town? I don't know what that deck is. Green-white value town. Green-white value town. Is it like, I don't know, what does a green-white value town look like for the most part? I need some help here. Oh, are you talking about the Todd Stevens deck? I think it's the Todd Stevens deck. I don't know what to say about this deck. I mean, it's like a pseudo, yeah, it's like a value deck. Knight of the Reliquary, Ramanap Excavator. Yeah, I remember the thing. It was mostly green-white, though. You could go Bant. Really have nothing to say about it. You know, I mean, like, this is one of those decks that I guess if you know it really well, and Todd built it himself, it could be a strong weapon, but it never ended up like flourishing in the hands of other people. It's sort of like Death and Taxes, where you really got to manage your resources properly. You got to make sure you use your ghost quarters exactly where you need to use them. Really can't speak for it though. It was really good in his hands, but didn't show up, which implies that maybe it can be a good archetype, and it's a toolbox archetype, right? Because Knight of the Reliquary can search for anything, and who knows, maybe Elvish Reclaimer is like a really good card in addition to that deck, now that we know that Elvish Reclaimer is the real deal. But I really can't speak if it's like, it's definitely can be a playable deck, but not super. Like, I don't know. I can't tell if it actually would work in today's metagame. See, we got all the happy birthdays. This is like a happy birthday channel now. Oh, the happy birthdays. Oh, did you eventually splash Teferi? I mean, that's possible. All right, you know what time it is, everyone? It's time for Decklist review. Decklist review. Exclamation point, review deck space. So, okay, in the description is my Discord, a link to my Discord. Join my Discord, my wonderful Discord, the paywall to Discord, but this part is free. Decklist review is open to everyone. Go to the channel, Decklist review, then enter the command, exclamation point, review deck space. Give the URL to your deck, and you will be eligible to be at random to be chosen for Decklist review. Remember, at random, so don't be discouraged if you're at like position number 25 or 100. It's all random, people. Everyone has a chance. Everyone has a chance here on Decklist review. Chances get slimmer and slimmer as time goes on, but Coffee and MTG keeps getting bigger. But the chance is a chance. And as people start submitting their deck list for Decklist review, we are going to thank our sponsors, starting with the Fusion Gaming Online. FusionGamingOnline.com, my favorite local game store. This is the place to get all your paper singles. I mean, they have a wide selection of cards, going from Commander to Modern, even to Vintage. What do we got? Like, I think we have Mox Sapphire. You can get anything from Fusion. Look, damaged Mox Sapphire. What local game store has a Mox Sapphire available? 3,600 Canadian dollars. Remember, Canadian prices, people. The deal of the week this week. Save 15% off all Kaldheim singles and sealed product. So better get in on that deal. I believe the sealed product is only going to be available to people within Canada. This is a Canadian local game store. And everything is in Canadian prices. So please do the conversion before you freaking out. This is like $1 million. Why is it $1 million? Anyway, you can save yourself an extra 5% off when you use coupon code Nikachu at checkout. Get 5% off all your purchases. We're also going to thank Mana Traders, the premier place to rent Magic cards online. Basically, the best way to playtest any deck, any format, any time that you want. Support the channel by using my Mana Traders link in the description below, or save 15% off your first 3 months using my coupon code Nikachu. Ba 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 ma ba ba ma ma. Da na 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 na. Yeah, what a steal. 3,600 for a damaged Mox. Hey, it's a blue Mox. I think if I had the choice between a Mox or Ancestral Recall, I'd probably want the Recall. The Mox literally doesn't do anything. Well, neither does the Recall, I guess. Yeah, the good old Monopoly money. I don't know how much I control during my my sponsorship announcements. Like, I should at the very least like convey the benefit. But you know, I don't, at the same time, I don't want to make ads that people just constantly gloss over. Like, I'm looking at my analytics and people just fucking leave the ad. Like, it's weird. So people are watching, ad shows up, people are gone, then people come back after the ad, and then people are watching after that. Always thought Jund was an aggro deck but slower. Yes, so we call that mid-range. We call that mid-range. All right, I think everyone's submitted deck lists. Everyone ready? All right, time is now. That's a unique name. Enchantress. We got an Enchantress deck. That should be interesting. Boop. I have never seen this website before. Manastack.com. Fuck. Oh, no, hold on. We can zoom in, right? Okay, that's not too bad. I was scared this is going to be another deckstats.net. Instead, this is okay. This is okay. How quick? We can get pretty close. Nice. All right. Does anyone like Enchantress? Gonna have the... We only have one Eidolon of Blossoms? What is this, a mistake? Okay, we have this. Why can we only justify one? All right, let's go from the top. This deck has no description. We will describe it for them. Abundant Growth. Enters the battlefield, draw a card, add one. It's basically like a Birds of Paradise, except it doesn't actually ramp. Ghostly Prison. So it's like a stacks deck. Creatures can't attack you unless their controller pays 2 for each creature that he or she controls attacking you. 4 Leyline of Sanctity. That's nice. You know what? I don't think I saw an Enchantress deck that played Leyline of Sanctity. That's a good idea. I like that idea. On Thin Ice. Enchant Snow land you control. When On Thin Ice enters the battlefield, exile a creature. Periphery Nodes is a good idea. This is actually one of the better Enchantress decks I've ever seen. No lie. No cap. I've never seen... Usually when I see an Enchantress deck, they were playing with a lot of baloney enchantments. These are all very impactful enchantments. Although I have to say, Periphery Nodes and Ghostly Prison probably don't work well together. Or maybe they do, because you have to keep playing creatures to sacrifice to the Periphery Nodes. But if you do that, then you don't have the mana to attack with Ghostly Prison. Maybe it works better than I think. So Eidolon of Blossoms. Whenever Eidolon of Blossoms or another enchantment enters the battlefield under your control, draw a card. So this is like a draw engine. Citizen Champion. Whenever an enchantment enters the battlefield under your control, put a +1/+1 counter on Citizen Champion and draw a card. So it's the same thing, but cheaper, but you don't get that instant draw card. I don't know. I would think you want more of these effects anyway, because you really want that card draw engine going. Sigil, the Empty Throne. Whenever you play an enchantment spell, put a 4/4 white angel creature token with flying into play. Like, this is like a good card, but it's clunky as fuck. Trace of Abundance. Enchant land. Enchanted land has Shroud. Whenever enchanted land is tapped for mana, its controller adds 1 mana of any color to his or her mana pool. Like, do we need this? This seems very unnecessary. Unless you just want... Because this is like just a 2-color deck for the most part. It's just Selesnya. The land has Shroud. Is there something that needs Shroud? Chalice, Destiny's Hands. Look at the top 4 cards of your library. You may reveal an enchantment card from among them. Put that card into your hand. Put the rest on the bottom of your library in a random order. Exile targeted creature or enchantment you don't control until target enchantment you control leaves the battlefield. 1 exile targeted creature or enchantment you don't control until target enchantment you control leaves the battlefield. Oh, okay. What a weird card. And -7, return all enchantment cards from your graveyard to the battlefield. Interesting. Somehow I think like a few more of these is worth more than this. I could be wrong. Yeah, so help me here. I'd remove the 3 Trace of Abundance and add 3. You know what? That's a good idea. Let's just do a clean swap. the abundance. Hold on, is Sylvan Caryatid an enchantment? No, it's not. The same like set around the era, but not an enchantment. That would have been gas. Ramp and an enchantment. Is there any like enchantment ramp? Like, are there any enchantment ramp creatures? I guess not. If Sylvan Caryatid isn't it, then it's nothing. Because this doesn't ramp you. Its controller adds. Oh, hold on. No, maybe it does. Whenever enchanted land is tapped for mana, its controller adds 1 mana of any color. Oh, okay. It even says in the bottom, in addition to the mana the land produces. Okay, so this is actually a lot better than I thought it was. This is actual ramp. This is literal ramp. Utopia Sprawl is great. So these two are great. Abundant Growth, not so great, but draws a card. And this is your win condition. It's fine, so long as you actually lock your opponent out. Let's look at the lands. Hall of Heliod's Generosity. I like that combo with Periphery Nodes. So if Periphery Nodes goes to the graveyard, you just put it back on top of your library and you just infinitely like deal with your opponent's creatures. No, Utopia Sprawl does basically the job. That's my deck. Also, Trace of Abundance is to stop getting blown out by Ghost Corridor and Ramp. Okay. Okay. This actually, you know what? I underestimated this thing. Although it is very awkward to have a ramp spell on a land on turn 2, because you don't have many 4-drops. You have this and this. And Calyx is fine. I might want to have maybe one less Calyx, because this is legendary. Eidolon of Blossoms is not. So if you have multiple Calyx in hand, they're useless. I mean, I don't mind this whole look at the top 4 cards of your library and like dig for an enchantment every turn. Like, that's good value. But you could end up too clunky with them. And Eidolon also is very good value. Arbor Elves, it doesn't fit the theme of the deck. Phyrexian Unlife? That's interesting. That could be a very good sideboard card. Okay, what's in this? Okay, hold on. We have Hall of Heliod's Generosity. Got our Snowlands, Windswept Heath, 4 Wooded Foothills. You know what you could play instead of Wooded Foothills? You could play the slightly better fetch land. Oh, what's the fetch land that just finds basics? Prismatic Vista. This technically can help find any basic that you want. I don't think you're choked on mana necessarily in any way. Whereas Wooded Foothills can't find your plains if you need plains. So I think Prismatic Vista is just better than Wooded Foothills in a 2-color deck. Replace On Thin Ice with Banishing Light? Yeah, but maybe. I like that you're mana efficient, though. If anything, I want another On Thin Ice in this deck. Oh, Horizon Canopy is not too bad. But it deals damage to you. But it's not a bad idea at all. I don't know what you remove for Horizon Canopy. But definitely with 22 lands, you have... There is some room to play like 2. I think there are... Snow Duels? I don't think you need them. The Snow Duels come into play tapped. This isn't really... I mean, it's sort of a control deck, but not really. Oh yeah, Dryad of the Elysian Grove is an enchantment, but doesn't help us in any way. Or maybe it does. Maybe it does. Maybe it's more playable than I think. Because you get some land drops in play. Maybe like turn 3. You could, in theory, go turn 2, Dryad of the Elysian Grove. Turn 3, Sigil of the Empty Throne. That is possible. Aura of Silence. Auriok Champion. Deafening Silence. Destiny Spinner. Creature and enchantment spells you control can't be countered. Okay, that's fine. Target land you control becomes an XX elemental creature with trample and haste until end of turn, where X is the number of enchantments you control. It's still a land. I like it. Gadok Teague, non-creature spells. Non-creature spells with converted mana cost 4 or greater can't be played. Non-creature spells with X in their mana cost can't be played. What is this for exactly? What can this beat? I don't know if Gadok Teague is so popular anymore. Modern is pretty mana efficient for the most part. Like, it doesn't even count. It doesn't even prevent, what's it called? Inverter of Truth. Oh, Courser of Krufix for value? That's possible. And gain life. But here's one thing that I like about this deck. There are no creatures. That is a good thing in a sense, because you don't get hit by your own periphery nodes. I mean, like, these are your creatures, I guess. Oh yeah, Dasan. Beginning of your upkeep, destroy the creature with the least power. Isn't that just going to be your own creatures for the most part? Like, it kills this thing. This might be a bit of a non-bow when I actually play with it. And 3 rest in peace. This is a pretty neat deck. This is actually pretty neat, especially since I never saw the deck with On Thin Ice. And I think this is a type of card that the deck wants, because you need to not die, right? You need to not die to like random aggro creature starts. Like, as a Merfolk player, I've like wiped my ass with decks like this, like over and over again. Destiny Spinner against Control. Yeah, totally. Yeah, I understand. Oh, yeah, it was here. I totally understand that. Doomwake Giant? What for? Black. This is a Selesnya deck. I would try to sneak 9 lives and Solemnity somewhere. Well, I think that's a very different deck, though. Gaddock Teague is a non-bow with Sigil and Empty Throne. That's also true. Yeah, so let's dump Gaddock Teague and add, like, something else. Maybe, like a pretty good suggestion, as was mentioned. There, like, a lot of the cards that were suggested could be replaced. What's it called? If you were up against Burn, then Phyrexian Unlife is playable. Gives you an extra 13 life. Make sure you don't die at all. Maybe you play with Courser. Like, the problem with suggesting creatures is they all die to the periphery nodes. I don't like I'm not in love with cards like Nykthos. It only works when your deck is already working anyway. Like, if you have a ton of stuff on the battlefield, you're already winning, in my opinion. And Nykthos is sort of a win more card in that situation. Oh, good luck with the tornado. Even though apparently it's sky blue. Hey, take those tornadoes seriously. All right, so I mean, I don't know what these last 2 cards are, but like, this Gaddock Teague doesn't make any sense to me. There was a time where Gaddock Teague was really, really good, but right now I don't think it's very good. Yeah, but Arbor Elf is going to get in the way of periphery nodes. Like, I like that this deck is taking some... like, periphery nodes is a fantastic thing to play on turn 1, and it'll just, like, wipe away all your opponent's creatures. Even if it's the smallest one. So if you have Arbor Elf, I mean, your Arbor Elf dies before the periphery nodes does. These decks always seem to have a lot of trouble reaching the late game. So a lot of people are suggesting creatures, but you gotta understand, it's gonna get eaten up by periphery nodes. Which might make sense why we're going for Chalice instead of so many of these enchantments. Oh, that's an interesting idea. Suppression Field? I don't know where to put that in the deck. We have no activated abilities. Activated abilities cost 2 more to play unless they're mana abilities. That could definitely be a really good sideboard card over Gaddock Teague. All right, I think that's it. That's all I can offer. Thanks for showing off the deck, and it's I would say a fresh take on Enchantress. Very fresh take. All right, so let's move on to another deck list. Tesserator Affinity. Oh, this is going to be sick. I'm waiting for people to innovate Affinity, and I know it's possible. Tesserator Affinity. Description. Hans Dampf, congratulations. You are the next contestant on Decklist review, and I'm really excited to see this. Used to play this before Oko and Ren got printed, and playing in my local Legacy tournament was always a blast. I'm looking for update ideas since the list is pretty much from 2019. This deck can cast must-counter cards like Chalice and Powerful Walkers as early as turn 1. The strange cards in the sideboard are complicated. There are matchups where you need more main plans. Is this Legacy? Oh, it's for Legacy. Damn it. You know, you got me excited for Modern, because, like, why not play something like this for Modern? Like, I really honestly think you can, like, these cards can be played in Modern. Like, what are we missing? We're just, like, we lose Mox Opal and Lotus Petal. Who gives a shit? I definitely think that, like, something like this could be played in Modern. Anyway, okay, we're in Legacy. Ornithopter, Arcbound Ravager, Phyrexian Revoker, Vault Scourge, Etched Champion. We seem to be very low on creatures. That's okay. Karn, Scion of Urza. Really? This is better than Karn, the Great Creator? Real 2 cards. Yeah, it's value. Create golems. Put a card you own with the minus one is you get to put a card with a silver counter on it from Exile into your hand. You have access to Chalice, Lotus Petal, Mox Opal, Welding Jar, Cranial Plating. Okay, so you probably, with the 17 creatures, you probably have more than enough synergy to beat them down with Cranial Plating. Dredge got a new toy or an old toy that got reprinted. So we have Ancient Den, Ancient Tomb. Look at all the artifacts that they have. It doesn't do shit. Or, I mean, it can do shit, but it's not... Even this deck can't even play them all, right? They're playing 3. Ancient Den, okay, anyway, Ancient Tomb, Blinkmoth Nexus, Ventures Fair, Seat of Synod, Spire of Industry, Vault of Whispers, Welding Jar, Aether Swarm Canada, Sorcerer, Spyglass, Vault Scourge, Etched Champion, Oblivion Ring, and Leyline of the Void. Yeah, it's probably just making constructs. But here's the thing. Okay, let's say Karn was just to make constructs. Wouldn't Urza be better? Like, wouldn't Urza be a better construct generator? I mean, I don't know. I don't know for sure. Because I always thought, I mean, but that might go a little too heavy in blue for this deck, for all I know. But you do have Mox Opal and Lotus Petals available. Like, I always thought, like, Urza should be in an affinity deck. Because you can use the if anything else, you can use the artifacts to just draw cards constantly. Is colored mana that tough? I mean, I don't think colored mana is tough. Getting double blue might be tough. Maybe. How much blue mana we have? Spire of Industry is blue. Seat of Synod is blue. The rest of this is not blue. Double blue might be tough. All right, looking at the mana base now and the Mox Opals and Lotus Petals, double blue might be a bit of an issue. Karn can make 2 if it lives long enough. I don't really have... Okay, so first off, I don't really have anything to say about this deck. I don't play Legacy enough to say one card is better than the other. The list is very, very solid. What do you do with Chalice of the Void? So you can play Chalice on 1 relatively comfortably, right? Because you don't have any 1-drops. So that's totally fine. Everything is like 0 or 2 mana. Are Aristocrats as an archetype viable in Modern? No one's made it work. I'll just say that. No one's made it work. So the answer right now is no, but I mean, maybe if someone put the time in and made it work, it's possible. One big problem with Aristocrats is that it's a creature-based sort of synergy deck, but it's hard to make synergy work in Modern because there's so much removal. There's just an outrageous amount of removal in Modern. Forsaken Monument might be good, but I think that's 5 mana, right? Yeah, so like by the time you've played this card, I think it's too late. It's a bit clunk. I think this is Clunk City. You want the top of your... Maybe it's fine. Maybe it's good. I don't know if it could be worth more than 1, but I'd say 5 mana in Legacy, and this is Legacy. That's a lot of mana. It's a lot of mana. Cool list, though. What was the description again? Used to play this before Oko and Ren got printed. So this is before 2019. So this is playing in my local Legacy tournament was always a blast, looking for update ideas. I would highly consider Karn the Great Creator. And if not taking out this slot, taking out maybe the Tezzeret Agent of Bolas. Just because that's like, it's a supremely powerful card and can, in theory, win the game by itself. Like, Karn the Great Creator wins the game by itself, and you'd have access to like things like Etch Champion in your sideboard, the Vault Scourge. Well, not really these things. You'd probably actually want for... You'd probably can put like a better toolbox package in your sideboard. Actually, now that I look at it, your sideboard is very bizarre. Is Oblivion Ring really one of the best things you can do in Legacy? This is weird. This is weird. This is weird to have in the sideboard. Unless you, I guess, I don't know how you're sideboarding. Maybe you need the random extra creatures sometimes. That might be fine. Candidates is fine. Welding Draws might be fine. But you'd have, the sideboard looks weak. Inkmoth Nexus for Infect? Yeah, maybe Inkmoth is better than Blinkmoth. I don't know. Okay, hold on. What is this? Is a... It's not really a black. It's like... Oh, no, it is a black deck. Black, blue, white. Black, blue, white. I get a sense we should be dumping something. There probably should be 4... Okay, there probably should be 4 Spire of Industries here. Or maybe not if these artifacts mean so much to the synergy of the deck with Ravager and Cranial Plating. This makes me wonder why Hammer Time isn't a Legacy deck of some type. Maybe they're working on it. Maybe it's possible. Mystic Forge? Oh, that's the artifact. I think Mystic Forge is just a worse Tezzeret card, though, right? You may cast the top card of your library if it's an artifact card or colorless card. Whereas Tezzeret is just, it's a planeswalker, and you look at the top 5 cards and you can reveal an artifact and put it into your hand. So the Tezzeret card is just better. And it turns random artifacts into 5/5 creatures, which is like just a really strong win condition. I really can't say we got to remove Tezzeret. Tezzeret is just really OP. Well, here we go. Here's the man of the hour. Sometimes you have to take out Chalice. O-Ring was against Eldrazi and Show and Tell. Ah, that's some neat tech. O-Ring. So you put in an O-Ring. They put an Emrakul in play. Oblivion Ring enters the battlefield. Exile their whatever the hell they put into play. That's actually pretty cool tech. I'm interested in new cards since I didn't follow Legacy in 2 years. I don't know what new cards you can add here except Oko. Like, Oko can turn your artifacts into 3/3 creatures, and it's pretty good value. You would replace Tezzeret with something else, though. So that, I mean, that's an option. Or maybe you play them side by side. Maybe take out Karn, and then so you, instead of going blue, black, white, you like add. Do you have green in here? No. So you go like blue, green. You go heavier on the blue. I would imagine Oko would be totally fine in this deck. Oh no, but Oko's banned, right? No, fuck, we can't play with Oko. Oko's banned. Okay, so they banned Oko. It was such a good card. Look, fuck, it's turned so red now. There's like nowhere for you to go anymore, Oko. Jesus. Oh, Jesus. Okay, the only other card I can think of is Karn the Great Creator. Oops. Because this is a 1-card win condition in itself. You minus it, you go get like something that will rip your opponent apart and potentially win. But also, Urza is also another ideal card. Like I don't know what this Karn sign of Urza. I think this is a bit weak. For 4 mana, I think we could do better. You can't really change too much of these other cards because it's what brings the synergy of the deck. So I totally understand why you have these cards, but these seem to be flex spots, and then the sideboard cards might be flex spots, but I can't give, like, maybe the mana base can change, but I don't play with this deck, so I can't say for sure. For example, like has been said, it'd be nice to have more blink moths or even ink moths in the sideboard. But you're not really that dependent on mana. I think Mox Opal, Lotus Petal, and 4 Spire of Industry can get you pretty far. You might be overrating the artifact lands. You might be overrating them. You can very easily just tap your Blink Moth Nexus and sacrifice it to Ravager if you really need to, because it's an artifact. Anyway, thank you very much. Okay, well, maybe before I leave, I just highly consider switching the art. Like, if you need the mana for color fixing, go up to 4 Spire of Industry and then start replacing some of these artifact lands with more Blink Moth or Ink Moth Nexuses. I don't know about the Ancient Tomb. Maybe you can keep that. It seems like good mana for a deck like this. But these might be overrated in terms of like helping you fix your colors and also to just giving you some extra threats on the battlefield. Having Infect available would be very nice in some games where you're like there's some hopeless situation. Well, if Urza is played. Do you think non-legendary planeswalkers could come in the future? Probably not. Doesn't sound like something they would design. Yeah, Oko is banned in Legacy. I am suggesting banned cards. Do not listen to me. That is how bad I am at keeping track of these other formats. Don't know why, but I'm having some serious deja vu watching these reviews. You've maybe tapped into the future. Anyway, thank you very much for sharing the list. That's going to be it for today. So thank you very much, everyone, for making me part of your daily routine. If I didn't get your comments or questions or deck list, don't worry. Monday to Friday, 9 o'clock a.m. Central Standard Time. We do this every single day. So keep up brewing your coffee, and we will keep answering the questions. You want to support the channel, leave a sub at twitch.tv/Nikachu MTG. You can also become a patron at patreon.com/Nikachu MTG. Oh my God, I'm getting like a bunch of patrons. I think I should be announcing them on this channel because I don't know if they all watch the gameplay videos. I thank the patrons on my gameplay videos, but probably I should be thanking them here. So anyway, that's one way of supporting the channel, or you could join on YouTube. That's all good with me. So as usual, thank you very much for making me part of your daily routine. Without any of you, this show is nothing. This show is only something because you all show up and become part of that conversation. So keep brewing up that coffee and we'll keep brewing up the magic. See you next time.